Well, morning from sunny Auckland. The sun's beaming in the window, which is good. Yesterday was a brilliant day. Had some team people turning up that we got from the airport, and it was just a glamour day. Best day we've had since we've been here, and a hint of things to come. I reckon we're moving solidly into summer, and that's kind of cool. Makes everything look good, except for the marina in our office, because all of our shipments are delayed. So when we left Southampton, I forgot the date. Date's 9th of December. It's Saturday here. It's Friday night where you are probably in Europe if you're watching this. And anyway, all our shipments, when we left Southampton, we shipped over by sea freight a whole bundle of programs and merchandise and all our banners, storyboard banners and flags and office gear, all sorts of stuff. Was supposed to be here at the end of November. It's still coming. And they said it was going to arrive Tuesday, and now it's going to arrive next Thursday. So when all of the boats arrive, you'll see no GGR and McIntyre Adventure branding and stuff. We actually organised a second set coming from China as well by air, just in case, for the banners and stuff. And that's been delayed because of Christmas and whatever. So that's not now arriving until middle of next week either. So that's life. It happens, and we carry on regardless. Had a good chat with Explorer yesterday. They've had a couple of little issues on board, but nothing dramatic. And they're quite happy. They're trundling along, making speed towards Auckland, and we'll put that up on SoundCloud, remembering that they're not racing. They're not in any rankings or anything, so they can actually use their sat phone. The same with Sterner. They're getting weather updates from their team, and they can pick up the phone anytime and use that. So anyway, it was good to hear from them. We've had a bit of an issue here with photos coming off the boats, and it's a real ironic one, which we'll talk about more later on. It's a requirement under the notice of race for all of the entrants to be able to send photographs. Okay. And that originally, I think I've explained for some that have seen it in the past, is because it's a safety aid. If for medical reasons, we can get better diagnosis if there's a problem on board by sending photographs back to MSOS, our 24-hour telemedicine people. And so it's been handy. And then, of course, we get up to 3 photos a week from the entrants, telling us what's going on. And so we're using effectively a phone and a WhatsApp process to take the photos and then put it in the satellite system, compress the image, send it out, and you uncompress it this end, and so on. And ironically, for some reason, WhatsApp just put up a reboot, or not a reboot, but crikey, I've gone blank on an update. WhatsApp have put an update out, okay, to update your WhatsApp system. And that's fine if you're in terrestrial situations in a city or in a town, normal internet, it just downloads. And what's happened now is that once you get the update, it's mandatory to put it in. You have no option. You have to say, yes, I agree, and download it. And of course, you can't download the update via the satellite system. It just won't allow it. So we've slowly been losing boats as they've been coming online. And it's blocking the WhatsApp system. So it means that we've, 2/3 of the fleet now have lost their ability to send photos until they get to Auckland, and then they can reboot the system and go from there. And we have absolutely no control over that. So that's unfortunate. I think that at the moment, we just lost Explorer as well. I think there's the others that have got a Starlink system can actually download the update, because they've got effectively an open internet, and it'll stream the upgrade without that. So we'll still be getting photos from Translated and from Triana, and also Evrika. They've got a different Inmarsat system as well. So, but the others, we're slowly losing them. So, and as I say, there's nothing we can do about that. And it was unusual. I think that's the first update for many months since the start. So it hasn't been an issue before. It's something we didn't think about. And realistically, even now that we know that problem exists, we just got to live with it. So the idea will be that when the boats leave here in Auckland, we will make sure they've got the latest upgrade, and then hope they don't do another update while they're at sea, which they probably won't, because it's been many, many months before the previous update. So that's a little bit of a hiccup as well. And then they're all coming in a bit faster than we planned. It's amazing, and we'll go through the tracker in a minute. It's the weekend, by the way, so I tend to waffle on a bit on the weekend on these ones. But certainly the fleet is moving very fast and efficiently. The weather, you'll see in a minute, is just drawing them straight to Cape Reinga. And by the time they get there, they've got plenty of breeze on both sides, which is unusual. And now the leaders, translated and Penjuic and so on, they're just going to rocket down into Auckland, which is not expected because usually there are challenges getting around Cape Reinga, and if you get good weather one side, it's not the other side, and it takes days. But we think it's quite feasible they might arrive on the night of the 12th or early morning the 13th. So that means Marco's not here. He gets in at lunchtime on the 13th, and Rob can't make it for some other reasons. So we're down on drivers for ribs as well. And so hence we put the post up. If there's some people in Auckland that are able to drive ribs, it helps us because we can keep you on standby to use the ribs. The ribs are coming from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, which is great, and they've got some drivers there for us as well. But it gets pretty demanding because we're on call 24 hours a day, and we might have to go out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we don't want to put them to too much stress as well. So it's kind of handy if we have a couple of people that we draw into the team and get involved with the fun. So that's just to explain why we've lost a couple of drivers on that as well. Mainly, we send 2 boats out on each occasion minimum. And one of them is for Ada and Jane and I for the lives, the Facebook lives that we do. And the other one is for filming the documentary, which we're producing. We don't have a producer on that. And then the committee side as well. We just like to have a second boat there just to make sure it's cool. And then the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron is actually running the finish line. They have a committee box on the breakwater. You can all come down to the Royal Yacht Squadron there, and if you know it, on the breakwater there, you line up and you'll see the boats come roaring in and cross the line at any time. You can give them a hoo-ha. They'll probably hear you. So it is quite a unique chance to get involved. No sound again. Oh, what's going on? Can you check that, Jean? I just see a comment there. No sound again. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just one. Yeah. Sound okay. Okay. Yeah, Elizabeth said sound okay. So you can see the finishes, and we've just made a decision to change the official start line. The start line, we were going to follow history and go back out where they started it in 77. But it's so cool in Auckland City to be on the breakwater there and watch the start. We've now decided to bring the start to right out the front of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, so people can be lining there, see what's going on. We've got the bridge in the background, we've got the city, and I think it'll be more fun for the entrance as well, because we're right in the middle of the city, and then we get to sail the fleet down the harbour and so on. We've got to check some permissions on that. That's a concept thing, so it's not totally settled. We've got to talk to the harbour authorities and a few other things. We just decided this at a meeting with the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron once again, and it makes sense to me, and it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll let you know when it becomes official. And so that's about it. So I think what else can we tell you? Our Sterner is still floating around out there. You'll see she's not making big headway. It's still pretty windy, and it's a bit of an epic to get down into the lazarette of the boat to change the cable. And for whatever reason, they've decided to take it easy and not be pursuing the steering under the emergency tiller and so on. There's no rush for them. They're not in the rankings for this one, and they certainly have the attitude, like all the entrants, to be safe rather than screaming or doing silly things. So they're taking their time, and it should be an easy fix, a relatively easy fix. So let's wait and see. Okay. Let's go to the tracker and see what's going on here. It's really quite fascinating in many ways. So hang on, I've got to get onto my screen now. Very fascinating indeed. So Penjuic started sailing again. That's good. She was just going relatively slow, and I couldn't work out why because it got northerlies. Anyway, you can see what's happening with the leaders, and we'll get back to this in a minute. They've still got great breeze, so they're heading direct for Cape Reinga. Middle fleet here is, moving, it's separating a little bit, and they just missed this heavy weather. We've been watching that. It wasn't a requirement for a weather alert because there was no forecast winds anything over 31 knots, and certainly some big gusts there. White Shadow still carrying along, so we'll get into that. But first of all, we'll come right back here to Sterner and Explorer. just to pick it up, you can see they're in a pretty solid northwesterly airflow. Sterner is just sitting tight. Looks like they're probably hove to. 1.7 knots. Oh, I forgot to put that. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to come back here. And if I hit that again, some people like seeing me here so they know they're not listening to a voice. And now I'll come back here. So Sterner's not going anywhere in a hurry. 1.7 knots, probably hove to by the look of that. And they've been there for a while. The process now is, and I'm not sure, I've mentioned this before, not sure if they had wire on the quadrant to going to the wheel, but they're planning to replace it with Dyneema. Some of the boats are set up with Dyneema already. It can be a little bit more reliable than wire. And it is challenging for them to get into the lazarette and get down and do it. It's one of those things. So they'll eventually get there. And as I say, we're in close communication with them, and the same with their team. They're talking to their team regularly, getting updates on weather and so on. So no real progress, 25 miles in the last 24 hours. Explorer doing 7 knots. And again, Mark is taking it easy as well. They had plenty of breeze. They were getting over 50 knots when they had that strong front go through, a little low day before yesterday. Boat's all okay. They've got some charging issues. The Watton Sea's not linking. They kinked the cable down the back of the boat. There could be water ingress, but it was too rough to get in and have a good look. And the generator, they're keeping it running, but there was a little fuel leak issue in the actual fuel line of the generator, which they've now bypassed coming out of the fuel pump, and they're using the transfer pump to provide fuel to the generator. So, but apart from that, everything is good on board. So what's happening to their weather? We just click this forward a day or so. It's going to get a little quiet spot there. Hopefully that's enough for Sterner, and just settling into a pretty consistent southwesterly flow. And by the 10th, by tomorrow, if we come back, you can see there's no real surprises, and the weather is going to die down a little bit. So that's getting a bit more consistent. So they'll eventually get a calm, but that's still a couple of days away. So hopefully they will sort that before long. And then the big picture, there should be no surprises for a few days yet. If we push this along, that's the 11th couple of days. There's the 12th. Light weather ahead for a few of them. Then there's a puff, but that should go down, yet disappearing. So all looking pretty good right through for the week. No big surprises. Okay, pull it back to today's weather over here, and this is where all the action is now. And everything is looking pretty good for a fast transit across to Auckland. So coming back here, whoops, sorry, I'm making people seasick here. Where'd White Shadow go? There we go. Okay, so White Shadow currently doing 9 knots in typical Southern Ocean, southwesterly, probably 20, 25 knots, gusting 30, probably 3 metre seas. And I reckon, let's see if they've got sunshine, see who's got the clouds, makes all the difference. Yep, they got sunshine as well. So that's kind of nice. All these guys have got overcast and rain and bits and pieces, so not happy, but White Shadow enjoying the ride without question. They'll be having a nice sail there. And they've done, where did we go? Come on. There we go. Done 198 mile day, good averages, and 11th everywhere, 11th line honours, 11th IRC, with a total distance to go of 1,895 miles. So that's going to be just under 2 weeks, which 14 and 9, that's 23. So they'll be better than that. So the big welcome parties on the 23rd of December, they will make it. But by the look of that, if they get a break, they'll probably be in on about the 21st, something like that, but in time for Christmas and in time for the party. So that's a good thing. Then I'm just going to drop in the Latin longs just for the fun of it. Galliana still sailing very slowly, and this is a factor of the wind shadow around Tasmania. Partly the cost may be of the tourist trip past southwest Tasmania, which was a good idea. I would have probably done the same if I was him, but it's cost them a bit, maybe. 106 miles in the day, so not too epic. Oh, well, then again, there's Evrika, so maybe it's a weather thing. Outlaw. They didn't go in for the Cook's tour of Tasmania, and they only did 92 nautical mile a day, so I take that back, Tapio. Your tour didn't cost you at all. That's weather-based. So they're currently doing 6.2 knots on Outlaw. And Galliana looks like she's a little bit ahead of Outlaw, so they're happy. Oh, look at that. T-Bone. We've got an interesting, I'll blow this up. And this is at the same time. They're right on top of each other. I'm going to blow this up and see how, I think they'd be just about waving to each other. Jeepers. Hang on. I'd say yep, this is really tight. And I'll give you a distance perspective on this. I can't measure the thing over. There's 1.6 miles. I'll just squeak this right down. That's less than a mile. So I would say they actually cross-tax and took photos of each other and had a good hoo-ha for sure. Because I can't go up any higher. There it is there. Okay. So I might be able to get a distance off this, bearing in mind that's half a mile. But here's the trick. There's half a mile and there's 3/4 of a mile from when they cross. So that means they cross within 1/4 of a mile of each other. So that's a bit of fun. Absolutely certain that, they would have been looking right at each other, a few hundred meters away or 100 meters. So that's interesting. I'll keep an eye out for the tweets there, but that's exciting. They'll enjoy that. Anyway, I digress. So for now, just to get it, so Evrika doing 8.1 knots, 27 nautical mile in 24 hours. That's wrong. So forget about that. And Neptune, if I can ping Neptune here, hang on, get rid of that. 93 nautical mile day. Oh, jeepers, I didn't see them sitting there. Not sure about that, but they're doing 8.2 at the moment. Let's just come back here a bit now and see what's going on. But yeah, I didn't see. That's a glitch on the distance, maybe, maybe not. I forget now. Anyway, they are having some fun, that's for sure. And when we come over here, Triana, 7.6 knots at the moment, 192 mile day, 6th in line on a 2nd in IRC at the moment, 1st in flyer class. And these guys are literally driving into this weather because it's been sitting with this northwesterly airflow for a while, and they've been coming up the back. They're sort of driving into it. It's a bit stationary, and this will be into the 30s, gusting 40, and they're driving into it. Same with the Esprit de Keep. So 6.9 knots, 206 mile day. They've done all right with that one. Triana did 192 mile day, so a little bit better distance than Triana. And then Maiden, they will have some solid weather for sure. Sea hasn't got up. It's only 3 to 4 meters maybe, but plenty of wind. They would have had it gusting 45. But again, they can see it coming with the barometer. It's been building up, but they've missed the worst of it. And we're showing forecast winds no more than 31, 32 knots. And there's no surprises because, as I say, it's not like not like a low pressure system that's bearing down on them that they could have missed. It's been a blocking system that's slowly building around them from the northwest more and more, and they would have seen the pressure gradients on their barometer and be well and truly prepared for it. So doing well, 200 mile day, so still in the hunt for everything that's going on. Spirit of Helsinki closing the distance a bit, 224 mile day, which is good, 9.5 knots. 3rd in line honours and 5th in IRC. So that's cool. So remember that, 224 miles, translated 204 miles. So they took 20 miles out of translated in that one, which is doing 8.7 knots. And you're getting very competitive now. We've had some communications from some of the boats about different things going on, and it's really quite cool. They are getting a little bit more secretive on some aspects of what they're doing because there's a lot at stake for the leaders as well. So now Penjuik is doing 8.9 knots, did 184 mile day. So translated did 204. So translated still squeaked ahead a bit. And the previous 4 hours, Penjuik was going quite slow, and I couldn't work out why. So I forget what it was now. They were down around 6 or 5 knots. I said, what's going on there? And you can see here, I can show you if I pick this up, you can just detect. You can see each position report is 4 hours. So you can see there's 4, there's 4, there's 4. And this is just looking back historically. I could wind it back, but just to see here, from that one there to that one there, 20 miles, 5 fours of 20. They're doing 5 knots. So, and this one's a little bit more. Yeah, they're hooting along. So they slowed down for some reason on this previous 4 hours. Maybe because it went on the nose. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, they're back in the hunt now. And this is where it gets really interesting. This is something that's catching us. When we move the weather forward, you'll see what happens. But they're getting, usually you have issues here and tactical and, holes and calms and sudden changes of weather. But it looks like they're going to just ride it all the way to Cape Reinga and all the way back down again. So let's see. So that's where we're at there now. Coming back, and we'll walk the weather through just so you can see the whole fleet here and see what's going on. Actually, I'm just going to see what's happening up here with the cyclone. Cyclone's not doing what it was supposed to do, but it's still rolling along okay, and it's going to head down and now coming across to Cairns. But I'm just doing that just to see if it's being affected by this high here, but it's not. So we'll get back onto this one. Okay, there it is there. Right, so there we are now. We'll push it through about 12 hours, and you can see, first of all, I'm looking at the leaders here. They've all got a great breeze. Penjuic's fine on the beam. Translated, it's a little bit forward of the beam, which if it goes light is good, but if it's heavy, it's bad, because on the beam is much better. Penjuic should speed up a bit. And remembering now they're doing 8.9 and Translated is doing 8.7. So Penjuic could stretch her legs. The other thing I didn't mention is what's the distance. So distance to the finish is 7:35, which is not much more than a Sydney-Hobart race. So 7:35 for Penjuic, and Translated is 6:25. So so they're a bit over 100 miles. So Translated has picked it a little, he's made it 10, 15 miles in the last 24 hours. That's about all. And Spirit of Helsinki, 7:75. 7:75 versus 7:35. It's only 35 miles behind Penjuic, right? And as I said a few times, it's better sometimes to be in here coming up there. But we're following this through. I'm not talking much about the mid-fleet, but you can watch that on the way. Most of the interest is here, and so I'll keep the explanation going, or my opinion of what's going to happen. So here you'll see a classic one for Spirit of Helsinki. Spinnakers are up and roaring along. The wind is coming from behind them. And Translated, it's on this same course. It's now come slightly after the beam, which is pretty good, and it's strong. Penjuic going forward, it's going to go lighter and slightly after the port beam. So those Spinnakers up and going for it. But I think you might see Translated pushing a bit faster here, because it's after the beam. They can put powerful stuff up and power reaching. It's a catch rig again, so power reaching with everything. I think you're going to see, and this is basically coming up to nearly 24 hours, I think you're going to see Translated push ahead a bit. She's going to pick up another 15, 20 miles, I reckon, in the first 24 hours. And you can see here, now, I'm not watching the back end here. You can see it's getting a bit quiet. Now it's all driven around this high. So I'm just going to focus on the leaders here, and then we'll come back again in a minute. So this is a little bit over 24 hours. So that's going to be, 180 miles or something. You can see Penjuic might be getting a bit soft. That's about where she's going to be. It's a bit over a day. So she's going to be coming up here. So it's a bit soft. Whereas if we look at what's happening with Translated, heading straight for Cape Reinga, much more breeze. So let's wait and see. Spirit of Helsinki flying, and she's a big, powerful boat. So if she gets the Spinnakers up and things like that, she could take another 20 miles from Translated as well. So the three of them are going to be very interesting, and it's all going to happen in the next 36 hours. This first one around Cape Reinga is going to say something. It's going to be a statement. So just pushing it through. We're into the 10th now. Next day, it's soft for everyone, but look at that, bingo. That's a blocking trough. She might be just the other side of that by then. In fact, she will, yeah. Penjuic will be on the other side, so it's very soft. Translated will be up here. It looks like Translated is going to have a bit more breeze, but what I was saying, look at this. Spirit of Helsinki, if she holds this true, comes through, she could take out 15 miles or more in a day on that lot. So all through, because this is where the wind is, it's in the right direction. Penduic's getting lucky here because there's this other high forming above them, and that means that she's below, in the right wind direction. So that's okay. So it's still getting at this point very, very hard to call. Okay. And you can see it's starting to go light. This could save us a bit as the organizer, because it might slow them down a bit, but as we're hoping it's on the 13th sometime, but not going to happen. But yeah, you can see here it's all over the place. So where's Penduic going to be? Here or up there? And where's Translator going to be? Sitting here in this hole. So hold your breath, everyone. It's going to be a very interesting weekend. And then, so here's the 11th coming in. So there's 2 days, and then it's all over. Then all of them have got truckloads of wind for the 11th. This is about when they'll be just make on a final approach, and it'll be a drag race, an absolute drag race. They'll be putting everything up. And I would suggest that you might see translated about 30 miles or so, 40 miles in front of Penduic. And if that's the case, I don't think Penduic will be able to catch them because if we follow this through down to the 13th, if you're watching on the eastern side of the tip of New Zealand, got truckloads of breeze. And there's so much breeze there that it'll be possible for them to hold close in along this area where the sea state will be quite calm, but they'll have plenty of wind on the beam offshore behind the mountains and everything here. They don't want to get too close, but it'll be a really fast reach down to Auckland. It'll just be a blast. And whoever's back up here got the same thing. So it's going to keep coming back and watch what happens. That's a bit far ahead, but you can see, yes, possibly late on the 12th. So we'll just, for the benefit of the mid-fleet here, we'll come back and just follow the weather a bit again. So this is back to today's weather. I'll pick that up one more time. Okay, so we can see everyone there. So we're forgetting about the leaders now, looking at Triana and Speed Keep and so on. Those heavy winds disappear. So they're gone pretty quickly in a matter of hours. And then it's a big sou'wester coming through. White Shadow's okay. Everyone's okay. And this is by late tonight. So good sailing conditions. It could get soft in the middle there for some of them. Okay, not good to be up high. So Galliana might miss out on that. Triana as well. And anyone down here coming around the coast track this way here, which is Neptune's headed down that way, but Evrika, she's absolutely coming along the bottom. And I'd say she knows that there's a high pressure system going to form down here behind those big winds. And that's the smartest thing to do. The guys in the middle are going to slow. So how long is that going to sit there, though? There's the 10th, the 4. Yeah, it's definite centre. I need to go back here and you can see a bit better. So, yeah. Okay, they don't want to go high. And they should be getting all the same forecasts. So I don't know why Outlaw's going up there. If I was seeing this, I would absolutely want to be down here and up the coast again. So there could be some winners a little bit. I know that generally, though, they've got plenty of breeze. Even White Shadow, she'll be moving along in this. So she'll be enjoying that. And it's all from the right direction, which is, again, fantastic. The weather for this leg for the whole fleet is just exceptional. It's crazy to sail all that way and have all these consistent breezes and have all these high average speeds. They've all been 180, 210 mile days all the way across. It's crazy and really good, really enjoyable. I'm happy for the whole fleet and us too. The only ones who are getting a bit of tough stuff is Explorer and Sterner, but that's how it works. All right, so I better check the leaderboard here for IRC again before we come back. This is taking a bit long, this one, but it's the weekend, so I never worry about that too much. Translated 40 days and 20 hours, and Triana 41 and 19, so 23 hours behind, 23 and a half hours behind. Then it's Galliana with Secure. That's cool. She's been hooting along. So Galliana with Secure is third on IRC. Be happy with that. Fair way behind, 2 and a bit days, but still third is pretty impressive in the fleet. Maiden is next, 44 and 11 hours, only 9 hours behind Galliana. Spirit of Helsinki, 44.15, So Spirit of Helsinki is giving only got 4 hours behind Maiden. So that could change. There's a few things up for grabs there. Everyone's performing pretty well. So, and Explorer, fantastic. 99 days and 20 hours, roaring along. Well, very good. Okay. So let's go back here and I'll check for questions. If I hit that, we're there. Okay. So, so coming back to the beginning, Nigel, hi, Nigel, Christine, thanks. Nathan, hello from Southampton, Auckland. Sounds fine. Yeah, cool. Thanks. I can hear no notification of live tracker update. Sounds good. No notification of live tracker update. Not sure what that means. Maybe on Facebook didn't push it when we went live. Cecile, I still don't understand why you don't share the pictures from Penduick. We don't have any pictures from Penduick. Don't you receive any pictures from the second leg from Penduick? No, none at all. Their system was banned. It's the only crew from whom we haven't get any pictures. That's exactly right. Just to explain that, even though given quite a few months of notice about the Starlink system on Penduick, which wasn't approved by OGR, Penduick turned up to start with a non-approved Starlink system that we couldn't control. And so to help Penduick and their partners, we gave them a dispensation to use that system for the first leg of the OGR. And it was to be only one leg. So they had plenty of time to organise to fit an approved Starlink system in Cape Town. They chose not to do that. And so there was nothing we could do. If Penduick used that system now, there would be severe penalties. So the next issue is that in in Auckland, it is a requirement under the notice of race for boats to be able to transmit photos for those safety reasons as well as media. So they will have to install at least a system that allows satellite photographs to be sent from the boat. So I'm quite sure on leg 3, Penduick will have a system, whether it's an Iridium Go exec or whatever, to send photographs. So you will see photographs on leg 3. Otherwise, they won't be able to start because it's a requirement under the notice of race to have that. So stand by. There will be pictures from them for leg 3, I'm sure. Come back to Neptune. Go Neptune. Yeah, we went to Neptune. Hi from the UK. Really enjoy your updates. Cool. Get a bit long on the weekends, but I don't care. So I wonder how many people are at work watching this. We still get like 1,500 or more following it up later on during the day with the sound off probably. So that doesn't do any good. So they wouldn't be watching at work, but who knows? Thanks, KS. A lot of unpredictable stuff, which makes it so exciting. Yeah, too true. This is the best part about the Tasman, but it's still crazy how the weather is just working perfectly to keep them going so fast. It's really impressive and giving fast times, and it's good for the crews because they will have longer in Auckland, and Auckland is a very impressive place. It's very cool. So the standard of living here is high. The people are friendly, and the area we're in, which was huge capital investments because of the America's Cup, it's stunning. The place is like, wow, quite amazing. And in fact, we were just at the office last night about 5:30, and there were literally thousands of people coming out of the city on a Friday night to start using all the restaurants and the people. There's so many people out front of the office and things. And it's quite funny because we don't have branding up at the moment on the office. And it's a really cool building. It's called the Kiosk. And people wonder what it is. And they come up to the door and open the door. They say, oh, what are you guys? What's happening? So and we've got the container out the front, but we've got no branding yet. So they don't know what's going on. So anyway, all fun. Do the boats have radars to detect the icebergs and whales, etc.? Yeah, a lot of the boats have got radar. It's not a requirement under the notice of race. And radars, you need to tune them just right to see icebergs, but we're not expecting to have icebergs in the fleet because you can, if your radar's not tuned right, it's a specific type of iceberg, you don't even see it on the radar. Your signal can go straight through, or a bergy bit or something like that. And nothing to detect whales, but we're through the worst part. There was one of the biggest areas of migration for humpbacks and so on. It was around the Kerguelen group. There's massive amount of whales coming down to feed in the krill zones underneath, but they all got through there without hitting anything, which is good. So it was an enjoyable experience for everyone seeing the whales, because we're not actually moving too fast. The boats are going sort of maybe say 6 to 12 knots. And the whales are pretty smart. We've spent a lot of time with whales. We lived with them up in Tonga for a long time, and they're very smart. And they can usually get out of the way for those speeds. But if you're doing 20 knots, forget it. You'll whack into them. It is nail-biting stuff. No sound again from Margaret Way. What's that? Anyway, so exciting it is. Evening from Ireland. Expecting 43 degrees today in Sydney. Yeah, well, jeepers, that's hot. So hopefully they will be getting a little bit of that and feeling a tad warmer. It is warm here. It's not really been cold, so that's good. Martin, thanks for the update. Great to have another close race finish. Yeah, it's great. Mark Wade, sound is good in Auckland. Yep. Evening from Vans. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Oh, I just skipped a bit too far. Great to lost that one. Claudine, thanks. Great up. Thank you. Love your updates. Fabulous city, Auckland. Yeah, it is great. On SoundCloud, Triana mentioned their body temperature between 32 and 35 degrees. So I was impressed to hear that. Yeah, that's cool. Do the crew stay in their boats during their time in port, or do they go to hotels? Just thinking after weeks of being on the boats, they'd need a break away. Yeah, most of them are off the boats. Most are off the boats. Airbnb is chocker. Here, anything close within walking distance has been sucked up, and there's quite a few people coming in. There's about 700 people. We get a questionnaire from Thingy that all the entrants fill out just to work out the value that we're bringing to Auckland. It's part of our assessment here, because Auckland is a big supporter of the event. They're actually providing a lot of logistics here, and they give us some funding as well to help with all our costs, which all mount up. And so, there's quite a substantial input the other way as well, with the people coming in. A lot of families coming in for holidays from Europe, just to join the cruise and then spend 10 days or 2 weeks cruising around North or South Island of New Zealand. It is an amazing place to have a holiday. So, so there might be, most boats will maybe leave 1 or 2 people on board, but most of them are getting off. Some are going home. Some are flying home, back to Europe, back to Australia, things like that. Okay, that's about it. So thanks, and we'll see you again tomorrow. This is a long one. Sorry. See ya.